Just before the previous hour ended, that the prosecutors at the SDNY, the U.S. Attorney's Office, Southern District of Manhattan, New York and Manhattan, have made a deal with the clown that runs a national inquiry. Pecker, is that his name, David Pecker? See, Pecker was given immunity along with Cohen because Pecker was involved in one of these women. He paid, the National Enquirer paid, I think it was Karen McDougal, that's her name, $150,000 for her story, meaning her story with and about Trump, and then promptly buried the story, did not run the story. And people are saying, that's another illegal campaign contribution. This guy at the Enquirer, he was reimbursed $150,000 for paying that babe, and then he sat on her story, and that would have been harmful to Trump. Therefore, it's an illegal campaign donation, blah, 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 blah. It isn't either. None of these two payments, neither of them constitute impeachable offenses, and neither of them constitute campaign contribution violations. They just don't. And again, if they do, there are 268 members of Congress who are just as guilty. And of course, they're not, and they will never be prosecuted. But granting immunity, and there's been a further deal made with the Enquirer guy, and I'll tell you where that's going. It is, and I may be saying something to you that's been obvious for forever, as it has been to me. But my friends, I can't impress upon you any more than I already have. This effort to get rid of Donald Trump is as focused and as intense and as purposeful and as energized as it has ever been. There is and has to be a literal hatred for the man. All based on one thing, that he ran for and won the presidency. Donald Trump would not be facing any of this so-called legal jeopardy that he's facing today had he never run for the presidency. And if he had lost, he wouldn't be facing any of this. But this encompasses the Department of Justice. That's the state, SDNY, U.S. Attorney, Southern District of New York, that's the Department of Justice. Robert Mueller, Special Counsel, Department of Justice, the FBI, the intelligence community, they are still unified, and they are working hand in hand to destroy Donald Trump. They will not stop. They have to destroy his business, they will. If they have to destroy his family, they will. They want to. They are pursuing Donald Trump with more fervor and energy than I have seen them pursue terrorists. I have seen Department of Justice terrorists argue for leniency for terrorists and take terrorist side against waterboarding or so-called torture. I have seen people in the DOJ and the Obama DOJ have more solicitousness and more tolerance and more understanding for people who participated in 9/11 than they have for Donald Trump. It is flat out amazing. And then you add to that group of people the entirety of the mainstream media. And I've never seen anything like this. I was alive during the pursuit of Richard Nixon. And I'm telling you officially now that the pursuit of Richard Nixon pales in comparison to what is going on here. It's personal and professional, like it was with Nixon. They despise Donald Trump personally. It's over the most childish things. They don't like that he tweets. They don't like what he says when he tweets. They don't like that they think he's stupid. They don't like that they think he's unsophisticated. What they really don't like is that he doesn't know his place. And his place is Queens. He's not even qualified to be in Manhattan society. He's an interloper in Manhattan. His family's from Queens. He's not even in the upper strata of New York society. and he doesn't deserve to be, and he's pretending to be, and he did everything he could to succeed and become a force in Manhattan, and they resent the hell out of it. And the fact that he then took that success and entered the political sphere, that's theirs. They own it. They determine who succeeds and who doesn't. They determine who profits and who doesn't. And they haven't been able to lay a glove on him so far, and they can't believe it, and they are frustrated to no end. They have thrown everything they have, from fake news to phony allegations from anonymous sources from the intelligence community, for a year and a half in every major newspaper and cable network in this country. They have lied. They have blasphemed. They have impugned. They have done everything they can to cast Donald Trump in as inhuman a light as they know how to do. He has survived it. They think the Democrats winning the House is step one in getting rid of him. But they're not going to leave it to elections. They're mad at you for electing him in the first place. They have as much resentment for those of you who voted for him as they have for him. It has gone beyond a simple political objective to get rid of somebody they think is a political opponent. It is now deeply personal with every one of these people involved. They are pursuing people on the basis of criminality that they ignore, behavior they ignore in 99% of the population. They are calling acts that Donald Trump is engaged in, that people all over this country engage in multiple times a day. They're calling it criminal, and in some cases, the worst crime in American history. The crime is that Trump won. The crime is that he outsmarted them. The crime is that he has not sought to include them in his administration. He has not sought their counsel. He's not sought their advice. He has not asked them to become part of what he's doing. He continues to criticize them openly and in some cases by name, and this is simply not permitted in this club. Donald Trump apparently represents an even greater threat to the elites of Washington and New York than we even knew. And it obviously goes beyond whatever policies Trump believes in. It goes beyond immigration issues and the wall and travel bans and this. When they start criticizing Trump because of his hair and the way he speaks, and he's not sophisticated and all that, it is the essence of irrational personal. Irrationality personal. It's difficult to describe. They are attempting to scare and frighten anybody who might agree to join his administration. They are trying to make Donald Trump a poisonous pariah who will result in anybody working for him being destroyed. The message is, you see what we're doing to Trump? If you join him, you become his chief of staff. You become this or that. We're gunning for you too. Don't care how much we've loved you in the past. Don't care how much we've respected. If you join this guy, we're going to destroy you right along with our efforts to destroy him. They want to isolate Donald Trump so that the only thing he has is his voters. Because in the big scheme of things, the voters don't really matter to these people. Otherwise, they wouldn't be doing what they're doing. They're attempting to, right in front of our eyes, overturn the results of the 2016 election. There is no sanctity of the vote. There is no acquiescence to the will of the people. There is resentment for it. There's contempt for it and for you who voted for him. And I think they've now concluded that separating you from him is the last thing. That's probably going to be the hardest to do. They're still going to try to drive his approval numbers. The easiest way to get rid of him would be to succeed in driving his approval numbers down to 30. That's why I wouldn't be surprised if in opinion polls, not now, but starting in 2019, I mean, these people can poll whatever they want, and they can report whatever they want. They can ask any question they want, designed to get any answer they want. So don't be surprised if you see Trump approval numbers start to show at 43, 42, then 40. And there's going to be that magical day when the Trump approval number is 39. And when that happens, you're going to think that it's Christmas Day to these people as you watch them report it. But that's the objective, because they know they don't have impeachable offenses, and they know that the likelihood of getting 67 senators to vote to impeach, if Trump's approval numbers are in the 40s, mid-40s, or higher, is probably not going to happen. The Republicans run the Senate. The Republican, even though there's probably a lot of them there that despise Trump, they're not going to slit their own throats unless Trump's numbers are down to the 30s, preferably the low 30s. Then there's nothing to lose by joining the chorus of demands that he leave. But I've been aware of the seriousness of this and of the intensity of this from the get-go. But just watching cable news today, in the Cohen plea, the aftermath of the Cohen sentencing, and then the announcement of the glee with which the deal has just been made with the National Enquirer people, and realizing that this is coming from the Southern District of New York. This isn't even coming from Mueller, although they are working hand in hand, don't misunderstand. But these are not Mueller pronouncements, Mueller deals. They're not part of the collusion with Russia business. This is totally ancillary stuff that the only reason any of this stuff is even usable is because regulations were violated and a crime was not specified when Mueller was named. So Mueller has basically been able to go out and find or invent or create any crime he wants. And remember, with these people, they don't have to find a crime. They just have to say they did. They don't have to find an impeachable offense. They just have to say they have. All they got to do is get those words in the media: impeachable offense, high crimes, misdemeanors, Donald Trump campaign violations, Donald Trump paying off porn stars, the never-ending assault. And it's simply because they can't stand to have this guy in their midst. They cannot stand to have this guy in the White House. And I dare say that in many cases, in the case of many people, the things Donald Trump is accomplishing, the agenda and issue items that Donald Trump is succeeding with, are things that many of these people have devoted their lives to, and they still hate the guy, and they still want him gone, and they still can't stand it. It's a class thing. It is, and by class I mean high class, low class, upper class, elites, ruling class versus the hoi polloi. But it is, well, it's despicable what is happening here. And it's very eye-opening for a lot of people who didn't think things like this could ever happen in the United States. This is the kind of stuff that happens in totalitarian regimes, but not here. But yet here it is happening day to day, right in front of our eyes.